Hello and welcome to the Greg Fearon podcast with your host Greg Fearon, and today I'm joined by my fellow Team Rich coach, Chrissie Hiller. Hey Chrissie, how are you?
I'm good, Greg. How are you?
Awesome. I'm good. It's Friday when we're recording
Yay.
this. I'm feeling good. So, Chrissie, do you want to tell the listeners a little bit about you and then we'll dive in?
Absolutely. So I'm Chrissie. I am a mum of one. Charlie is 10. He just turned 10. I'm a wife to Tom and a fur mum to Henry the Cocker Spaniel, and must never leave out Henry the Cocker Spaniel.
Yeah.
I am also, as Greg said, a coach on Team Rich. So I started my own business a little while ago, and I coach busy working mums who never put themselves first. And I help them to do just that and learn to become unstoppable.
Oh, I like that. We kind of got a similar thing going on, so this is going to be fun. Um,
Yeah.
and what made you go with that direction of your values and your ethos? What made you go that way?
Yeah. So a few years back, I was quite ill, and I have a corporate job at this point, and I was signed off of work for 2 months, and I had severe anxiety. I had some depression issues. I was sleeping maybe two hours a night.
Wow.
I was struggling to leave the house, and I was in a really bad place, really bad. Mental health is a really hot topic at the moment, and I was in a hole, a really bad hole. So I took some time off of work. I've for the last 10 years of my life, I've had a massive interest in nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
So did some studying before this time, and through my whole adult life, I've been really interested in moving my body. And after ruining my knees through marathon training,
Yeah.
I learned to lift weights. So whilst I was really ill,
Mm-hmm.
I finished my nutrition course, and kind of the constant things for me were fueling my body with great food and eating a really balanced diet, moving my body every day, even if that just meant a lovely long walk with Henry.
Yeah.
And I hired a coach.
Okay.
I hired a Team Rich coach.
Would that coach be rich by any chance?
No, no, no,
No. Okay, go on.
no.
I'm intrigued.
I hired Nats Butler.
Oh yes.
So
Shout out to Mrs. B, by the way.
shout out Mrs. B. Whoop, whoop. So I, as well as receiving help from the NHS with my mental health, I also hired Nats, and I worked with Nats for a total of 15 months.
Mm-hmm.
And initially wasn't really thinking, oh, I don't need to lose a huge amount of weight or anything like that. It was really just to help me with my mindset and help me to learn how to put myself first. But actually what I did realize is that I was unhappy with so much in myself. I was unhappy with my food choices. So whilst I did really eat healthy food, I would binge on chocolate and sweets and maybe the odd glass of wine at the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I guess it just took me down this road of, I want to help other people. So I'd already, before I started working with Nats, I'd already completed a PT course and started a level 4 nutrition course. Because I was off work, I had time to do this stuff.
Yeah.
And then, just because of personal interest, but once I started working with Nats, having seen her at a conference about 7 months before, I just really felt like I needed to give back,
Mhm.
and that my story is so strong in me, in that, I had some suicidal thoughts at times,
Mhm.
and I've come out of that, and I'm a completely different person, and I'm stronger, and I'm happier, and I'm a better wife and mum and coach, and I want to help other people do that.
There's so many little gems in that little. Is it a monologue? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
Um, I think one of the big thing that struck out to me, and I want the listeners to really hear, is that you decided to put yourself first, and that's really strong in your message, right?
Yeah.
Because I see it in my clients. We have similar clients, I'm sure. And why don't ladies put themselves first?
You know, I think some of it is hard wiring. I think I think some of it is we take on so much responsibility that actually doesn't have to be ours.
Hmm.
And there's a definite degree of perfectionism in all of my clients, that you can't sit down until everything is done. And actually, your brain always finds something else for you to do. And we take it upon ourselves to think, well, it's our job to run the house, to do the cleaning and the washing and the cooking and look after the kids and do all the running around, and not just for us in our little family units, but for the extended family and the friends, and never saying no. I think there's some hard wiring that often women feel that's just the way it's meant to be.
Can I pose a question then on that?
Yeah.
I think one of the things and one of the lines I kind of go down with my clients is that a lot of this is conditioning from the generation before,
Hmm.
and then it's just kind of carried forward. Is that your experience?
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%, because if you think about, even when I was a child, but more so when my mum was a child, my mum worked part-time. She was there to pick us up at the end of the school day, and dad would walk in at 6:30 and dinner would be ready, and stuff like that. That's what I saw. But even more so with my mum, her mum didn't work. Her mum didn't work, and it it's just, but we've evolved. Life is different, life is faster, life is busier, but we've still got this conditioning that must do everything and be bloody perfect at it as well.
And it's interesting you mentioned that because times have changed so much. So
Mm.
now, as you said before, and obviously predominantly at that time, it would have been the women at home looking after the kids or making it all working part time. But now both parents have to go and work.
Hmm.
And it
Yeah.
still seems like the ladies I work with just feel like they've got to slot everything in, even though actually there's actually less time to do the other stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. That's the way I describe it to my clients. Is it's like a jigsaw puzzle. And let's face it, over lockdown, everyone has done at least one puzzle, but you haven't. Well
No,
done. Well done.
I might. Do you know what? I might just add that to my list.
Okay. I've got some if you need me to send you some.
Send them over. Yeah.
Um, but it's like a jigsaw puzzle. And I think what my clients have been trying to do is go from the middle of the jigsaw puzzle instead of starting with the corners and the edges.
I like that. That was smooth. So, what's the difference between the middle of the puzzle and the edge of the puzzle?
So you're creating a framework.
Hmm.
And that's one of the things that I help my clients do, is create a framework, because you kind of get an idea of where the different colors need to be and where the different patterns are. And if you create that framework, you can fit everything in.
Hmm. Nice. I like it. That was good. That was very good. And it was interesting that you mentioned just before we jumped on about the fact that you kind of went back to your boss and said, "Oi, mate, I can't do all of these things in this week. Like, this is crazy."
Mm-hmm.
What sparked you to do that? What's pushed you to do that?
So I'm still working 4 days in my corporate job,
Mhm.
and you know, I reduced that from 5 days so that I could spend more time on my business and with my clients. And I work in a very busy company, but what I was finding is that, you know, the the scope was creeping. You know, I'm really good at, and I've always been really good at, no, I'll start work at this time and I'll finish work at this time. And before I I changed, that was because I have everything else I need to do. And now I'm very much a case of, well, you know, I've got this job, but I also want to spend time with my family, and I want to cook a nice dinner, and I want to speak to my clients. So it's really important for me to get my work done in the work day. But what I was finding was that work day was getting a bit longer, and lunch was getting a bit shorter, and even at my desk. And, you know, Henry was only getting a 15-minute whiz around the block instead of his normal 45 minutes. And I was just like, that's not, you know, that can't happen.
Mhm.
And so we had the conversation, and when we actually wrote it all down, um, I was doing more than I should have been.
Mm.
And that's just, you know, maybe I need to take that as a massive compliment that I can just get stuff done, but actually it's not manageable, it's not sustainable. And what would happen is I would get to a stage of burnout. And that's what a lot of mums don't realize, is that at some point
Yep.
something's going to break.
And human nature dictates that. Well, what I see is, well, until it's broken, I won't do anything about it. Even though I know it's breaking me, I'm going to wait till it goes ping
Mm-hmm.
before I fix it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it's so much harder to fix it.
Hmm. Yep.
So much harder.
I totally agree. All right, let's switch lanes for a second. So nutrition, you said it was a really big thing for you. What? Just tell me what are your general thoughts about nutrition, and what's your kind of philosophy around nutrition?
Okay, so you're probably not going to like this, but
Oh,
I eat a mainly plant-based diet.
right, hold on a minute. Hang on a minute. For the record, people,
I
I have vegetarian clients. I don't have
Oh,
any.
I know you do.
I don't
I
have
know
any.
you do.
I don't have
But
any.
I don't want you to ever think I'm one of those vegans that tell people that they should or shouldn't be eating this, because I'm not.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
I'm absolutely not. So I'm not a vegan coach.
Yeah,
Um, it's just my preference,
yeah.
just what I prefer to eat. So what I would say my principles will be with clients when I'm starting with them is, let's just look at where your nutrition is at. So what's actually going on,
Mm,
and also where's your knowledge level, because we need to close the gap. Normally it's quite a big gap, so we need to close the gap. You know, coaching mums, energy is so important, having energy to keep going. And so many of my clients live on coffee, biscuits, and chocolate to get them through a day. And so I'm always, my starting place is, right, let's get some foundational things in place. So I will always start with fruit and vegetables,
mhm,
protein, and water,
mhm,
always. Most of my clients start off not eating enough fruit and vegetables. They're lucky if they can, you know, if they can do 3 or 4 portions a day. So we always go with a minimum of 5, but I would always tell them that that's the absolute minimum. I want them to be doubling that if they can. Um, they never eat enough never eat enough protein, ever, 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 ever. Um, And, you know, for some of them, that's a real struggle. It's a real struggle to get their head around how to incorporate protein into their diet. And it's it's incredible as well how many people are underhydrated. Interesting story. So my first ever client used to drink in the morning a latte, and then, you know, maybe a third of a bottle of Diet Coke, and then in the evening maybe a third of a bottle of Diet Coke, and that was all she would drink all day. So then I got her onto sparkling water, and then I
Yeah.
got her onto still water. And in celebration of her own new habit, she bought herself a Vivian Westwood chili bottle.
Nice. Nice.
Amazing.
Nice. Do you know what? There's a couple of things there, but hydration, like, it's such a big. I think people think they drink more than they actually do. Um,
Yeah.
when you're trying to get them up to 2.5, 3 liters a day, they're like, oh my god, and their
Yeah.
bladder can't handle it, right?
No, so I had a conversation with a new client on Wednesday evening, and she was very similar. She would drink a couple of decaf coffees in the day and maybe like a squash or something, or a juice, normally a juice. And, you know, in week one, I was like, do you want to buy a little keep bottle, maybe? See how we get on. So I spoke to her on Wednesday, and I've got this thing where when I talk about hydration, I have to drink. It's really weird.
I'm like, I'm
um,
going to mention hydration as many times during
yeah,
this podcast. As
yeah.
many times you drink. Go on.
And she was so she was sitting there with her keep bottle. She was like, look what I bought. She said, and you're so right. I can't believe how little I drank, because now I drink, you know, 2-3 of these bottles a day. It's all I can think about doing. I'm like, oh, I'm thirsty. I better drink. And I said, oh, have you been weeing a bit more? She was like, yeah, that's the downside, every hour. And I was like, swings and roundabouts. Like, it'll calm down a bit as your body gets used to it, but you may as well get used to it.
Yeah, I think it's a very small pain for such a massive gain though. When you see your skin's better, your other body functions are better, your digestion's better, brain works better. Like, going to the toilet a couple more times is not a big thing. Like,
No.
seriously, I think sometimes we need to be adult about these things. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
and then you talked about protein. That was a really big.
Yeah.
That's a really big one. So whether you're an omnivore or you're vegetarian or all vegan, this is something I see across the board for ladies. So how do you
Yeah.
get ladies to start getting better at protein?
So I have a really interesting group of clients. I've got, you know, some fierce meat eaters. I've got I've got some pescatarians, vegetarians, and then I've got one plant-based, and then one that will eat it but eat meat but prefers not to. And really what it comes down to is a discussion around, well, what do you like eating? Let's start there. And, you know, once we know what they like, it's about thinking, okay, so what could you add in that is going to help? So breakfast is a really big one. And I don't know if you find the same with your clients, but I love breakfast. And if I don't get my breakfast, I am not a very nice person. But that's because I've always eaten breakfast. But, you know, often with my clients, busy working mums, it is, I'll grab a bowl of cereal, or I'll grab a quick slice of toast, or I'll just have a coffee and a Belvita breakfast biscuit.
Oh, might as well eat a chocolate digestive.
um, and so breakfast is a really key one. And I think the misconception is that actually eating, you know, a breakfast that has got a decent amount of protein in it has to be really complicated, and you have to stand there and it's going to take you 20 minutes, and you don't have that time. And it's, you know, it's such a common misconception. So I always try to get my clients to think outside of the box of cereal or toast,
Yeah.
and what are the things that they can include in their breakfast. And I would try never to tell a client what to eat, but if someone were to give me great ideas, were to ask me to give them some ideas, things like overnight oats. Now I know they're really like fashionable, but actually you can get a really nice breakfast that
Mm.
you can make 3-4 days ahead. You can make for half of the week, stick in a nice protein powder that's got a nice taste, and some fruit, and maybe some oats, or sprinkle a bit of granola on top.
Yeah.
You've got your carbs, you've got some fat, and you've got some protein all in a meal. And it's taken you probably 10 minutes on a Sunday night.
I think that's a real big one. Is like the ladies we work with, they see these tasks or things that they have to do as really big, and I'm like,
Yeah.
but you did 25 minutes of prep, but you'll hoover the house for 4 hours, like,
Yeah.
and go, I've got no time, and I'm like, really? But
Yeah.
is that because of this mindset of my house has to look perfect and I don't have time to prep? So because I'm doing all these
Yeah.
chores that I've been told I must do.
Yeah, absolutely. When no one's coming into the house at the moment anyway.
They weren't coming in before lockdown anyway.
No. No. So just, yeah, breakfast is always a key one. Breakfast, and then lunch, I think people struggle with, um, as well, because I think they just think they have to eat a salad or a sandwich. There's nothing wrong with either, but it doesn't have to be one or the other. There are loads of different things that you can eat and that don't have to take loads of time.
And I think you raise a really good point that we've been marketed so well that breakfast has to be the set of foods like
Hmm.
croissant, bacon, cereal, these kind of breakfast
Yeah,
foods. Lunch has to be soup or salad,
yeah,
and dinner, and then you've got all of these foods for dinner. And
yeah.
like the body doesn't really mind when you eat
No,
things. Like it doesn't.
no,
Yeah.
no, absolutely not. And, you know, I'm a massive fan of leftovers. I
Oh.
love leftovers.
Hmm.
So I will always cook extra and then have leftovers. And so encouraging clients to do things like that is always a winner. And make it simple. You know, common misconception: I have to give up bread to lose weight.
Oh
No,
God. Yes.
no,
Very on.
bread makes me fat. No, bread does
No.
not make you fat. No, no. So, you know, make yourself a really nice wrap. And
Mm.
then I'll tell you what, eat it with a knife and fork rather than in 3 bites. And it will take you about 20 minutes to eat it. And I bet you'll enjoy it.
Yeah. And you're right. Eating slowly is such a big thing. Everyone's rushing their food.
Yeah.
I don't know what for, by the way. I don't know what for.
It's a race. I'm going to finish before you.
Yeah, but I think what because then obviously you work in a corporate environment now. I've worked in corporate environments before. Again, there seems to be the priority is all the work I've got to do, not myself. And then when I'm
Mhm.
unhealthy, not feeling well, and I'm off work, the company doesn't really care about you. To be honest, like I know it's harsh. Sorry, people, but it's true, right? When you're off sick, it's like okay, they're off sick. So
Yeah, it's just at the end of the day, they're businesses, right?
mm,
So, I have to say, when I was off sick, I was very well treated, but at the end of the day, they are a business. So when I went back, they want me to be my healthiest, and they also know that they want me to be my healthiest now, because if I'm not going to be able to do my job.
mm,
But it's ridiculous that it took for me to be signed off for 8 weeks for me to have realized that. But you know, I think I think we have a danger of overcomplicating these things.
definitely. And then, so I know you had a recent little rant about one of our good friends. Um, and I don't care if they sue me. Still in World. What was that about?
So I, look, when I was in my 20s, I went to Weight Watchers and I lost 3 stone on Weight Watchers. And then I put it all back on again. um, and they have their place, but their place is probably for the people that really don't understand or care about the bigger picture. And I would hazard a guess that most people that start with something like that end up trying every other one and just ending up in the same boat. So my rant came from the fact that I'd spoken to someone who had been interested in working with me. And then the next day had decided to go to Slimming World.
I'm saying,
And the amount of my clients who have done either Slimming World, Weight Watchers, Herbalife Cambridge, what
ketones,
else? Ketones. Yeah, ketones.
diet,
Skinny jab.
yeah, booty,
Yeah, yeah, all of those things. And
yeah,
my rant is like, anyone can do it. Anyone can be Sue. That gets you to stand on a scale. And all Sue cares about is the number on that scale, not about any of the other stuff that is going on in your life to have had an impact on the number on that scale.
love that, love that. Carry on,
Which,
carry
by
on.
the way, could be 100 things that have impacted the number on that scale.
Yep.
And they make you feel like your worth is determined by the number on the scale.
Crazy, huh? It's um, it's interesting that a lot of these consultants have had actually no nutrition training, formal education around nutrition, exercise, anything, and yet they're showing people how to get into great shape, which they're not because of the bounce
Yeah,
back rate, which you mentioned.
yeah,
So your Sue sounds like she's related to my Shelley from down the road.
yeah. I reckon they're sisters.
Yeah, they're related somewhere, aren't they? They are.
Yeah.
So, what's your message to those people who keep going back to slimming clubs all the time?
My message would be, think about why this time is different. What is going to be different to the other 5 times you've done it? And I don't care whether the other 5 times you've done it has been with a different company. Oh, well, this one will work. This one will work because it's different. No, no, no. There's science, right? And the science is, I'm going to sound really fit pro now, calories in versus calories out. However, and that is why your Slimming World and your Weight Watchers work, and then your juices that literally just remove half of your calories for the day, that's why they work. That there's no difference. And actually, what's led you to go back to putting on all the weight and making yourself miserable and making yourself unhealthy is because you're not dealing with any of the other stuff that's going on.
Yes, I love that because so often people come to people like us, and it's not the diet that's the issue. Well, it's all the stuff that's going on in here, the
Yeah,
routines in their heads and stuff, and you
yeah.
won't get someone at Slimming World to help you deal with that.
No, no, because they don't have the capacity to, or the interest. It's just, stick to your points, stick to your sins, shove this in your arm.
Eat all your? Did you eat all your free foods?
Yeah.
Well, yes. I don't know why I'm not losing weight.
Oh, it must have been because I mashed that banana.
How dare you mash the banana? Did you eat all your sins though? Yeah.
Must have done, yeah.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, I think you're right. It's such a big thing. It's mental. It's psychological. It's behavior change. I think that's the real problem. I think for a
Hmm.
lot of ladies who are trying to lose weight, get in shape, whatever you want to call it, it's understanding that it's behavior change, not necessarily do this plan.
Mm. And there's a massive part of it as well that is understanding why you're doing what you're doing. So, and I don't mean that in a sense of understanding why I'm asking you to increase your protein, which I do. I always want people to understand why I'm doing that. But
Mhm.
what is your why? You know, it isn't about fitting into that dress. It's not. There's something more to it. And if you don't understand, you will constantly make excuses and go, oh, well, I'll start again on Monday. I'll start trying to fit into the dress again on Monday.
Mhm. It is always deeper than I want to lose 20 pounds, and I'm like,
Yeah.
why? Well, I want to get into that dress. Yeah. So what's the feeling that the dress is going to give you?
Mm,
Oh, okay, it's going to make me feel happy. Well, why would it make you feel happy?
mm,
Then you open up a whole ton of it. It's actually the first thing I go through with all my clients is
yeah.
the whys. What's the why?
Yeah.
Why do you want to change? Got it. Love it. So, big question now. You recently, at the beginning, you talked about having a period of where you felt like suicidal, and you got a coach as part of your journey to recovery. Why was that important for you to get a coach?
So as I said, I'd seen Nat about 7 months before at a conference, and she presented at this conference, and I found her really inspiring. Um, but for me personally, so my why with it was I I want to feel in my body and in my mind like the strong person I'm always trying to be.
Hmm.
Um, and I felt like there was this fog. I felt like I was in fog,
Hmm.
and hiring a coach enabled me to see through the fog and to stop everything from overwhelming me.
Yeah.
And you know what? It was never the big things that overwhelmed me. It was always the small things. You know, it's always the smallest thing that breaks the camel's back.
Give me an example of one of those small things.
So if I if I cooked the boys a dinner that I got the recipe wrong,
Right. Okay.
or so this is something my husband absolutely rips out of me all the time. So whenever I open a kitchen cupboard or the fridge, something falls out on me. It's a thing.
Yeah.
It's just a thing.
Hmm.
And so sometimes it would just be something falling out of the cupboard on me, and I would literally lose my shit.
Wow.
like
Hmm.
like unbelievable. And actually hiring a coach just helped me, like I say, lay out all of the jigsaw pieces
Hmm.
and start with the edges and start looking for the edge pieces. I couldn't see them before.
Got it. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love that. Cool. So, I just want to talk about training very quickly. You talked about. I know you got excited there. Look at yeah. Um,
If you need to know how long it is till the gym's open, I can tell you.
you got like a calculator, have you? Like how
I
many?
have, yeah.
Um, so how do you, what's your kind of training setup? How do you train? What's your forget COVID for a second. How would you
Mhm.
normally train?
So I would train 4 days a week.
Hmm.
I will lift as heavy as I can.
Hmm.
Um, I've got I've got very strong legs for a very short person. So I love a leg day. Um, absolutely love a leg day. Um, so I'll tend to do one purely leg day, one probably I'll split my upper body over 2 sessions, and then I'll do something that's a bit of everything and conditioning all in one. But I go there to enjoy myself. It is my way of keeping me really present. It's like my meditation. So I don't have to think about what dinner is. I don't have to think about the work day. I'm just in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it feels like a long time since I've even had to think about splitting up my sessions. But yeah, I'll split up my upper body because it's my weakest part, so I need to work a bit harder on it, and take my time with it a little bit more. Whereas legs are, if you gave me a free gym every week, every day of the week, I'd just go in and do legs, and then
So
I'd be
kind of
really
a leg
unbalanced.
day, push pull kind of,
Yes,
and
yeah,
then full body stroke conditioning type day.
yeah,
Nice,
yeah.
nice. And what's your favorite leg exercise? This could earn you another slot
Oh,
on this podcast if you get this wrong or right, I say.
okay. So I love an RDL.
Okay, so
I
glutes and
love I love a hip thrust, but I am also really partial to a leg press,
really? Okay, wow. Okay,
purely because it's become an obsession about how much I can press.
yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, no, I like it.
Yeah, so an RDL,
So for
a
those who
hip
don't know,
thrust, sorry,
that's
Romanian
right. For
deadlift.
those who don't know, Romanian deadlift, that is,
Deadlift.
by the way, people, if you're listening.
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right.
Shop talk, shop talk. And then give me any kind of squat as well.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. And what's your message to ladies then around training and how to train and stuff like that?
So many of my clients have done lots of cardio training in the past, and not really ventured into the world of strength training, resistance training, however you want to term it. And I have to term it slightly differently depending on who I'm talking to. Um, my my message is always start with something.
Mhm.
So, at the moment, anyone that I'm talking to mainly doesn't have any equipment at home because they've never done it, so they've not then
Yeah.
thought to buy it. So we'll start with some bodyweight stuff. We'll add in some resistance bands because they can be really versatile if you can get, some fairly decent quality ones. Using the dining room chairs to do some step ups and stuff like that, using, you know, um, books and things to train the chest muscles, and just start small and then grow in confidence. Because I think a lot of women think, I want to be healthier, I want to lose weight, I want to tone up. I did that in air quotes,
Don't worry,
just
this is
in
going on
case.
YouTube as well. Don't worry.
Okay. So they think they have to run to lose weight, and my message is, run if you enjoy it. But if you really hate it, you don't have to do it. I can show you some great home workouts that mean you don't have to go and do a 5K 3 times a week.
Yes, and you don't need to do burpees.
No. Oh, I quite like a burpee.
Weirdo. It's only because I find a lot of ladies potentially got some hip, knee, ankle issues
Mm,
or back issues. So just the mere thought of them doing burpees just makes me go, oh, just makes me.
yeah,
But, um,
yeah.
no,
I
that's gone.
I promise my boot campers they only have to do like burpees every other week.
Ah, I banned them totally, actually.
Did you?
Yeah, but then I think that was just because I saw so many. I was like, nah, this. It's one of those exercises where I was like, the risk versus the reward factor. Yeah, do I need it? But if you like your burpees, you carry on, Missy. You carry on. Cool. So just to wrap up, then I just want to get your top four things that you'd want people to leave this podcast with that they could take forward into their lives.
Okay, so number one is start putting yourself first and spend some time thinking about what that means for you, because it doesn't have to mean running a bath and watching Netflix with a glass of wine in the bath, but it could mean that. But start putting yourself first, because until you do that, you can't look after your family, you can't do your job, you can't be awesome and unstoppable. The second one is ask for help. You don't have to do these things alone. And you don't have to do, the things that you think are the only way of doing it, i.e. salads for lunch and, like you say, a thousand burpees. So ask for help, but find the help that's right for you. The third thing is think about having a coach. If you hire a coach, you will always have someone in your corner. There will always be someone on your side. There will always be someone to listen to the challenges and to help you with what's going on.
Yep.
And then the fourth one is, what is the fourth one? Don't be scared of resistance training or strength training. It is not going to turn you into the Incredible Hulk, and it's really important.
Love it. Perfect. Thank you. Great tips for people to walk away with. So, just to finish up, where can people come and stalk you, find you, follow you, get into your world? Just tell the listeners where they can find you.
Yeah, so I'm super active on Facebook, so Chrissie Hiller, or you can find my business page, Chrissie Hiller, the female confidence coach. I'm also active on Instagram, so it's confidence _ Chrissie.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm also on LinkedIn as Chrissie Hiller.
Awesome. So yeah, looking forward to getting this one out to the world. So ladies, you've got some awesome tips and advice there from Chrissie. If this has helped you in any way, share this with the world, leave a review. And Chrissie, hopefully we can get you back on soon. Maybe we need like a Team Rich round table, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, that'd be lovely, wouldn't it?
Oh, okay, that got me excited. But thank you very much for coming on, and we'll catch up soon. All right?
Yeah, thanks, Greg.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.